AskReddit by AskReddit. What was a loophole that you found and exploited the hell out of? Not real sure it's a loophole, but I'll still post it. I run a recycling center, and when Mountain Dew did the winners box 1 with codes under the soda bottle caps, we got a total of 20s box 1s. Every worker got one that year. Also, Case's Pizza had a thing going that you collect 10 tabs off the large pizza box, you'll get a free pizza. We had free pizzas weekly for years till they stopped doing it. You actually deserve it for doing all that recycling. Older vending machines like the ones in my high school and car wash used to take golden dollars. Yes, the Chicago dollar coin. Count them as a dollar and then spit them back out. You could buy the whole machine with one golden dollar. My friends and I exploited this for 7 months senior year until they swapped all of the machines out. Interestingly, almost all of the US dollar coins ended up in Ecuador, as they also use the US dollar. It was super weird but convenient as an American going there, and I guess it really fucked up our economy. I had always wondered where they disappeared to though. Major issues with counterfeiting them too. Any shiny one was basically useless even if it was real. During my first year teaching, teachers were each allowed 1,500 photocopies a month. I had 150 students. That wasn't enough. One day, a coworker announced that she was leaving for a different opportunity. I asked her for her copier code. They never deleted her code, so I had 3,000 copies per month for the last 5 months of the school year. This just infuriates me. You shouldn't have to game the system to do your job. My bank thinks the vending machine at work is an ATM and refunds my ATM fee automatically. Chase Bank, if anyone wondered. I noticed I was always getting like $1.50 returned to my account here and there, and then I realized what it was. What, Chase will charge me an additional ATM fee on top of the fee the ATM charges? You used to be able to order dollar coins from the mint. Pay for it on your credit card. Free delivery. Get Sky Miles. Take dollar coins to bank. Deposit. Pay off bill. Repeat. You guys used Frank's credit card and you bought a bunch of airline miles. You use those airline miles to purchase 400 steaks. Knowing that this delivery company delivered all variety of animal products, your plan was to contaminate the steaks with chicken feathers by rubbing live chickens all over them. Then you were gonna repackage the steaks. At which point you were gonna return the contaminated steaks for actual cash, taking advantage of a loophole in the current airline miles system, correct? When Pizza Hut first started online ordering, they gave me a code for a free pizza for ordering online for the first time. Turns out the code also worked if you just ordered as guest and kept working. So, does it still work? Burger King used to have an app where you'd shake your phone and it would sometimes display a free item. Guy at work wrote his own app that looked identical to Burger King's, but would only ever show a Whopper meal. Every lunchtime he'd go to Burger King and get a free meal. When I was in high school and college, they had a thing where you'd take a phone survey and get a code that you'd write on the back of the receipt, and then with the purchase of any fry and drink you'd get a Whopper. So for a $1 fry and $1 drink you'd also get a Whopper. And then you'd get another receipt to repeat. Problem was the survey usually took a few minutes. Nobody has time for that. We figured out that each month just had its own 2-digit prefix of the code, and then it was 5 random numbers after that. So like, let's say January was XY, February was MP, etc. So I wrote a quick web page that generated a random code depending on the month. We ate like kings for a slightly cheaper price for years. Back in the 80s we found vending machines which were not regularly serviced that would overflow the coin box and spill quarters on the floor. We used to scrape them out from under the machine with a stick. Was a good time to be a latchkey unattended minor. Vending machines in college, Ireland early 2000s, had a flap at the bottom that was supposed to stop you reaching your arm up to steal. But it also had a sensor used to determine had something actually been dispensed. So if you held it shut, The machine would think nothing had dropped and you could order as many things as you wanted, then refund your coins and release the flap. In the 80s, Coke had prizes under their bottle caps. We turned over the Sprite bottles to find the winners. I did this with Gatorade in the 90s. I knew what the sorry, not a winner looked like through the liquid, so I'd go through until I found one that won something. Lots of free fast food that year. At a former job, management rearranged the schedules to expand our call center hours from 7 AM to 9 PM. It was still an 8-hour day, you just started later. We had a meeting to discuss if we could pick our own hours so employees didn't run the risk of working to 9 PM then having to be back the next day at 7 AM. Management gave us a hard no on that. But we were allowed to swap with a coworker. A few of us got together to review the monthly schedule and noticed that 5 people were in the rotation who hadn't worked there for years. Seriously, Dart. So, whenever we had to work a late schedule that we didn't want, we switched with Michelle. This went on for almost 2 years before management scrapped the whole idea. Back in school, I found if you stuck 2 pennies together, the vending machines would accept them as £1. I had a lot of cheap chocolate and soda. We used to rip the buttons off our blazers and use them. For that sweet £1 in the vending machine, 1,500 kids, and no one had buttons after the first week of school. Maybe not a loophole, but Kroger used to have a thing where if you found something expired in the store, you'd get the equivalent item for free, and the expired item for free as well, provided it wasn't something that could be dangerous when expired. So in college, my roommate, my girlfriend and I would go to Kroger at midnight and go through the meats, cheeses, and bakery looking for things that had just expired. Some nights, we would fill a shopping cart with bread, cookies, cheese wedges, steak, pork chops, etc. The policy was intended for when you stumble across an expired item. But we went hunting. You were working for cheap. They didn't have to pay an employee to pull dates. They had you. Last July I went to a metal fest. Beer was fucking €7 and you paid by purchasing a coupon online, which would then be swiped off by the bar attendant on your own smartphone. After the first legitimately purchased beer, I thought to myself, what if the swiping off animation of the coupon is on client side? If that's the case, turning internet off before handing the coupon would prevent it from being voided. Then, turning internet on again and refreshing the web page should present it as new. I was right. I got 7 free beers and a friend of mine 6. I used to abuse the McDonald's coffee sticker scheme for a couple of years. You needed to purchase 6 cups of coffee and get 7th free. You could just buy the stickers of eBay and stick them on the redemption cards. Worked out 5 pence a coffee. Then they came out with the app. Bin men park up right next to where I stay for coffee every morning. Told me they just collect all the old cups and take the stickers off, others haven't bothered to. A few years ago, a vending machine company, Selector, started a game where you would scan the barcode of your purchase. Every month had a few partnership items, and get points. If you religiously scanned your 2 items every day, you'd get in 3 months enough points for the best gifts, iPads or TVs, things like that. Except, to scan a barcode, you don't need to purchase it, you just need to have it. So if first day of the month you buy the chocolate bar, nothing is stopping you from scanning it again and again. You can even just take a picture of the barcode of the soda drink bottle next time you stop at the supermarket and actually never buy it. And you can make a printable PowerPoint of it, to ease the task. And you can open accounts to family and friends and share the PPT. It lasted a bit more than a year and it was very fruitful. What were your takings? From 1980s, found a skibble machine at Chuck E. Cheese that dispensed unlimited tickets but you had to manually pull them. My pops helped and we slowly pulled out 300 tickets. I noticed that if a machine didn't give you tickets for a win, you should patiently ask the attendant to refill it because chances are it's been out for a while and most people left. Once the attendant puts in new tickets, you get hundreds of tickets other people passed on as it catches up. For my son's 4th birthday party we went to Chuck E. Cheese. He got to stand in the ticket wind machine. Imagine a circular phone booth and wind would rush in there and tickets would fly around. The birthday boy got 60 seconds in there to keep what he could catch. I told him to hold his shirt out and stand there. He was 4,000 tickets richer. Pretty sure you're only supposed to use your hands, but if they didn't put forth any rules, yeah, go nuts. Create a new Amazon account by adding a comma period to your mail and get another free 6 months of Amazon Prime. Your order email still comes to the same mail as Gmail is period insensitive. This is also how you filter marketing junk mail. Gmail is aware of the period, just sends it all to the same place. Real things? Use original mail. Junk things, add a dot, and set a filter to junk it. My GF worked at a gas station that had points cards that gave a discount if the customer didn't have one. She'd scan hers for them to get an item discount and we got the points for discount gas. Never paid over $1 gal the entire time she worked there. I've been using my ex-girlfriend's phone number at the store for years just because I didn't have one. We've been broken up like 4 years, but I talked to her recently and told her I still use her number and she was like, oh, that's why I have so many points. I didn't think she'd care, but it was funny, she thought she just got free points. The railway crews each had a wallet full of fleet cards, like a credit card, but only usable for fuel and related things, so they'd be able to fuel up anywhere in North America. In the cities, that meant they could choose what gas station to go to, and that choice was usually based on where the crew leader had loyalty cards for. Company pays for fuel, crew leader gets the points. Anyway, one guy happened to have a points card for the bulk fuel truck stop that I worked at. One summer they had a major project. They'd bring in 2 pickup trucks and a large commercial truck on the way to the job. The commercial truck also had a large fuel tank on it that they'd fill up and use to fill the heavy excavators, welders, generators and such. So he'd fill that up, and then return later that day, fill the truck and the tank up again and go back out. They were spending thousands of dollars for fuel every day. Those points really added up quickly, and he used them to get gift cards. He used the gift cards to buy smoke and lunch every single day and still had some left over. When I was a little kid, my dad would volunteer at the farm area of our state fair every year. I'd go with him all the time, and just run around since there was nobody there in the morning hours before the fair opened for the day. Across from the farm area was a beer garden, with a big koi pond. Every morning I would go over to the, currently closed, beer gardens, wade into the pond, and collect like $20.30 in coins from the drunk fairgoers the day before. It was an insane amount of coins, and they were damaging to the fish anyway, so it was a total win-win scenario. I did this every day for the entire month of the fair, several years in a row. Andy. Uguni. College 1985. Had to take a risk and insurance class. The professor was terrible and I had no idea what he wanted us to learn. I was a good student and normally I'd figure out in the first week what was needed to pass with a high grade. I was worried, really worried. So I looked in the book, and as I recall, in the front pages a workbook was available. This had helped me greatly in my accounting classes, so I called the publisher and ordered the book. It was page after page of multiple choice questions for each chapter with a key in back. I memorized the answer to each of those questions. And as you have likely already guessed, the professor used those questions for the exams. I sailed through that class and didn't tell anyone what I'd done so I didn't mess up the curve and make the professor suspicious. I took a business class in college from a professor who was known for being a hard ass. I had a friend that had taken the class the previous semester and he gladly shared all his tests, back when tests were on paper and you got them back, with me. I did so well on the first test that the teacher almost respected me. I aced the class and never told a soul. An employee somehow threw out the large reel of sticker coupons at Subway. It was behind the store in a box that looked like it was thrown into the trash but missed. We were skating behind the store and my buddy recognized it. I had not saved up the coupons, so I had no clue. We kept the reel of coupons. We would go into the store and ask for a blank coupon card. We would go back outside and place all the stickers on the card to get a free sub. We did this with 4 or 5 buddies at a time. All of us had free Subway sandwiches for about 9 months. Back in the day before cell phones, we discovered this 1-800 number that if you call it and hit the pound button twice, you would get a dial tone and be able to call any number you want without putting money in the payphone. We abused the hell out of it for years until cell phones became a thing. Saved me innumerable quarters. I love the tales of phone freaking. Mine is stupid, but I bought a storefront, operated it at zero profit so my tax returns reflected poverty levels, lived in it so I could deduct my rent on my taxes, and then got free tuition Pell grants at a college that would have costed me $100k to attend. Life hack: buy a retail property to avoid paying for a degree. Okay, so hear me out. I got $400 of premium underwear for like $20 due to a website security issue. So a few years back the company MeUndies was doing a National Underwear Day sale where new users could order any pair off the site and only had to pay $1 for shipping. The thing was, they didn't have any restrictions on verifying new users. You could type in any email address you wanted, slam in a random series of characters for a password, and it would make the account. Then you could order a pair, log out, type in more random info, and repeat the process. My apartment mailbox was literally overflowing with these purple confetti design packages. It was wonderful. Home Chef and some other sites now will call out your shipping address matching another account lol. I worked a job where we would have to book clients very expensive last-minute hotel rooms if their flights were cancelled. My co-worker would book the hotels using his personal rewards account with the hotel. One particularly bad week, he racked up about $15k worth of Marriott reward points. Yes, in 1 week. Enroll in a college class, get the student ID and email address, then drop the class. Usually if you drop in the first week and you don't have to pay for it, then you have a valid student ID and email for all the discounts you could get. I got a lot of very cheap software back in the day. In my defense, I was in college at the time. But a few semesters after I graduated I did this just to get a few more things I needed but couldn't afford. Eater, it seems I need to check to see if my student email still works lol. I used my college ID for several years after I dropped out. Then they went and changed the design and also my picture kinda faded away a bit. I lived in an apartment in a big city. The building lot was $120 per month. Street parking was $60 for the year, but it was first come first serve street parking in designated areas. The rest of the street was metered. There were some nights I had to pay for metered parking, just so I could go to bed. One time though, I found a meter that was broken. Parked there the rest of the year, then never renewed my parking permit and parked there for another year. Saved a bunch of money and uncountable hours of driving time, never got a ticket. In college parking was like $250 a year and there were inadequate parking spots, and if you parked in the residential spots not on campus with a permit from my school you'd get ticketed. If you never bought a permit, however, you could park in residential spaces without problem, which there was an abundance of. I not only saved money but basically had a personal spot also. Back when Redbox was new, you could enter the promo code break room and get a free rental on a new card. I passed that around like crazy. When Kmart was big they were running a promotion where if you spent $50, you'd immediately get a $10 gift card for free. I figured out that you could keep purchasing the same gift cards with other gift cards and each transaction would get you a free $10 GC reward. The only catch was that you couldn't directly buy a $50 GC with a $50 GC. Instead, You had to buy a card with a slightly higher value, plus $1 each time, but they let you pay for the transaction with 2 GCs. So by the end of the night, I walked out with an iPod Classic and a plasma TV. Ah, so you're the reason stores don't allow purchasing gift cards with gift cards. 2018 I ordered Pizza Hut for my office. I noticed the free sticks coupon code took off like 4 orders of breadsticks. So we maxed it out. 99 orders of breadsticks. Free sticks took off all 99 orders. Oh boy, we can't screw them like that. So we ordered like 15 and continued to do so as a Saturday night tradition for maybe 3 months before it was fixed. Dozen orders of breadsticks, completely taken off the total. Order like $12.99 worth of pizza to split. A long time ago when I was attending community college, I worked at an IMAX movie theater in a mall. Next door was a 2-story arcade that had promotion that if you brought in a ticket stub from the IMAX theater or the movie theater, you'd get a $3 free play card. I'd assist in cleaning the theater and find lots of discarded tickets that I'd take to the arcade after my shift. None of the workers cared. Not me. I worked an outsourced payroll a number of years back. Somehow, the company figured out they had paying this guy who was let go for 3 years. The company came after my organization to say it was our error, converting into our system as active. This guy had a reporting manager who must have approved his hire every year, or did a crap job of just docking it. The story was they fired this guy and he wasn't happy with the way they did it. So, he never told the company. The company tried to go after him, but the law wasn't on their side. We had our original files for conversion saved and they had sent the guy over to us as an active employee. Would love for this to happen to me, though I'd probably tell them, unless they pissed me off like they did to this guy. I'm still covered with health insurance from the job that fired me 3 years ago. Back in early 2022 I started using Coinbase for some crypto investing. I have Rakuten set up on my browser which gives you money back for purchases on certain sites. When I logged into Coinbase I'd get a pop-up saying they were giving you $30 cash back, so I enabled it. This pop-up would show up every time I logged in, so I would click it thinking nothing of it, but turns out there was glitch and they gave me $30 every time I logged in. I ended up getting a check from Rakuten for $800 before they figured it out. Check cleared and everything. This is when it pays to be an early adapter. 10-year-old with empty pockets. Used to collect nickels and hammer them down flat until they become the same diameter and thickness as quarters. Arcades and gumball machines accepted them. When McDonald's first launched their app, if you searched for food sometimes you would find a free item. One I found and was able to buy for months was a triple cheeseburger. Sometimes I'd get more than one. No one ever questioned it. Not quite a loophole, but whatever. In the early days of the iTunes Music Store, 0405, Pepsi had a promo for free download codes with each bottle cap. I worked at a university, made little money, didn't have the internet access to regularly steal music, so would just look in the recycling bins every time I walked in the halls for Pepsi caps. Also befriended a secretary who was addicted to Diet Pepsi that would just give me bags of bottle caps. I probably got at least a dozen albums with that promotion. When me and my boyfriend, now husband, moved in together at 18, we joined a very expensive and nice gym. They told us they had a special deal for married couples that was pretty much 2 for the price of 1. We just had to bring in our marriage license as proof. We never brought one in, obviously BC not married, and anytime they'd ask we'd just say we forgot it and we'd bring it next time. Stayed there for almost 2 years with that fake married couple membership. Did they finally pin you guys down, and you had to get married just to keep up the ruse? When I was a kid I was in the swim club. It was a pool open for the general public, and we swam when it was closed. A section of lockers had turnstile combination locks, You'd put 50 cent in and choose your combination, but they would frequently jam so the 50c wouldn't come out again. People couldn't be bothered to get someone from personal for 50c, so the money would pile up in the lock. People kept putting 50c in, the lock wouldn't work, so they'd move to the next one. We swimmers knew the trick of how to get the money back out, so it was always a race to get there first. If you were lucky, you could get 10 bucks in coins from all of them. That was a lot for a 10-year-old 30 years ago, and you'd get yourself a frozen Mars bar, and if you had a big haul you'd buy your friends some too. That was the unspoken rule. Back in college, the local grocery store near me had this point system that allowed you to redeem for a rebate on gas. One day the lady ahead of me didn't have a loyalty card and didn't want one. The guy said no problem and typed in a random phone number and gave her all the discounts anyways. When I got up there I asked and he said he just put in the phone number for the store loyalty card. When I left the store I figured that store code gets used a lot, so the next time my car was near empty I pulled up and typed in the store phone number and voila. Got $0.25 gallon off, which was the maximum reward you could get. I used that phone number for the next 2 years while I lived in the area and always got $10 minus $25 gallon off. I've heard when in doubt use Jenny's number and your local area code XXX867-5309. There used to be a grocery store whose policy was don't ask people if they want a senior's discount, but if they ask, they can have the discount. The policy was not dependent on age whatsoever. My friend at 15 would go buy snacks and ask for the senior's discount and get it every time. If you put a bunch of products in an online shopping cart and then don't complete the transaction, usually within a few hours, you'll get an email with an offer code. Usually save anywhere from 20-40% for waiting a few hours for product I was going to buy anyways. I do this too. One time I waited a couple days after the coupon arrived, and the purse I was eyeing went 40% off and the coupon stacked on top of it. Not a bad deal. For a little while Uber was offering an hourly wage to drivers in Boston. Provided you were inside a certain area during the hours they specified, you would be paid a minimum of like $25 per hour if your fares didn't exceed that. The Jeff and area included the end of a pier in Charlestown where nobody orders Ubers in the morning, so I'd just hang out for a couple hours drinking my coffee and reading a book until I got bored. Back in high school my friends and I learned the breadsticks and personal pizzas at those fast food Pizza Huts are all made at regular intervals. They aren't made to order like everything else you get at a fast food place. What that means is they only have a certain amount of time to sell them before they're expired and they get thrown out. They aren't rotten or anything, they just aren't fresh. We're talking like they made them at 11 and by 12 they can't sell them anymore. I've left that shit in my car overnight and it still tastes the same, you know? Anyways, we'd go to this same Taco Bell Pizza Hut like every weekend and order drinks and some tacos, then ask for all the expired breadsticks and pizzas. We'd get like 5 orders of breadsticks and multiple personal pizzas for free almost every time we went. Back when I was younger, Bank of Evil America had a promotion where for every transaction you did it would round up the value and deposit the difference into your account 1 year later. Being a poor college student, I went to the gas station and bought as little gas in one transaction as possible. So I spent 15 minutes buying a nickel of gas, one transaction at a time, and then 1 year later got 95 cents deposited into my account for each transaction. The long con. 6th grade, I discovered the standardized math quizzes we took daily had the answers in the footer of the page in one line in a simple code. After a few days, I had enough info to decipher the key to the code, and I got 100s every day with no effort for the rest of the year. I guess they figured that whoever could crack the code deserved an A in 6th grade math. Long ago, 2009ish, Bed Bath & Beyond gave 20% off coupons if you signed up with an email account. Email accounts are free and unlimited, so the 20% coupons are as well. I would buy an item using a 20% coupon, return it without a receipt, Get store credit. Consequence of not using receipt. Then use the inflated store credit to buy something else using another 20% coupon. This method quickly stacks as compound interest, and I would get my original investment out by buying the original item with a fraction of my store credit reserve and return with receipt. I fleeced that place for thousands. You are why they went out of business, lol. A big video game store chain, I don't remember if it was GameStop or if it became GameStop later, had promotions where you would bring 3 used games to trade in for a new game around this box 360 era. Didn't take long for people to realize that any 3 games would work. So we would just rummage bargain bins for whatever Barbie's horse adventure games they had for around €5. People would share on online forums whenever they found big clearances in some stores. And so you could get a brand new Halo 3 for instance for around 15-20 euros. They would eventually put up a list of games that would not be accepted for the deal that would cover some of the most popular bargain bin games, but you could still find some good deals. When I traveled for work, in the days before Uber, I got a ton of blank taxi receipts. And I'd fill them out for rides to and from the airport. It was $35-ish each way. But I'd take the subway for $1.50 instead. So $70-ish tax-free income for every trip. I did something similar with meal per diems.